And just before we get started, a word from our sponsors, NordVPN. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/Talking City. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and the link is in the podcast episode description box. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Talking City podcast with myself, Alex James, and City writer Simon Bajkowski. We've hot-footed it across from the City Football Academy for Pep Guardiola's press conference pre-West Ham on Saturday and into the studio. And I was going to say we'll talk about the game and games, but I don't think we are going to talk about the game or games.
No.
Certainly not initially.
One of his last press conferences, isn't it? Enjoy him while he's still here, yeah.
Enzo Maresca, Chelsea... Pep's off at the end of the season. Discuss.
Yeah, not what I thought and not what Pep said today and not what Enzo Maresca said today. So it might be true, but there was a hell of a lot of noise, so much noise yesterday about this.
It was loud.
Yeah, and come from very credible publication and journalists that Pep will leave at the end of the season. It's the sort of story that it'd be pretty embarrassing if you got wrong, I think. You've got to be very, very convinced to commit to it. But yet, there's a hell of a lot of evidence and a hell of a lot of people who don't seem to be believing that that's the case and that will happen. And
yeah.
I would put myself among them at the minute.
I mean, Pep, we've just obviously seen Pep, and while he didn't rule anything out, he equally seemed to me, I don't know what you thought, but he seemed to me more up for it than not maybe than ever, but certainly reinvigorated by what he's seeing from a young team and the new sort of vintage he's got at his disposal. He was pretty calm, and this sort of stuff isn't going to fluster him. He's probably had the same questions every year for 7 or 8 or 9 years. So he was never going to be fazed by discussing his future. But he didn't strike me as a man who thought this was going to be his last hurrah.
No, I mean, he's long in the tooth, and he's well versed in not telling the press what he doesn't want to tell the press. Yeah. But, even if he has made a decision, there will be a vanishingly small number of people who know what that decision is. Yeah. And there is also zero, there's nowhere near 100% clarity that his decision now is his decision come the end of the season. He signed a new contract last November when basically everyone thought he was off.
Yeah.
And I think he said when he renewed that he was going to leave and then decided against it. So he was going to leave then and didn't. He's never broken a contract, but he has talked about wanting to manage internationally. Maybe a team comes up after the World Cup and he says, you know what, I get on well enough with City, and City are, well enough run professionally that they will have options lined up at all times. They could have Enzo Maresca lined up.
And that'd be a dereliction of duty if they didn't, really.
I mean,
for any club, not just City. But
they had Ange Postecoglou in the thinking for a while, and look at how stupid would that be to suggest now? So Maresca could be sacked in 2 weeks. And by the way, not that, when these stories come out, you sort of think, well, who benefits from this story coming out? And it's not City, and it's not Pep, because people are saying, oh, Pep's had enough, and the idiots on social media are like, oh, it's 115, there must be a 115 decision. And, a routine press conference about West Ham becomes all about, are you staying or are you leaving? Chelsea benefit because suddenly they've got a manager who's been lined up for the biggest gig in world football, or one of them. And it also gives them kind of, Chelsea fans might be able to think, oh, well, maybe that's why Maresca's taken a pop at our owners in the last few weeks. Because, if he's got the nod from City, maybe he feels more liberated to speak out, knowing he's leaving. So Chelsea benefit and Maresca benefits because a coach that started a fight it didn't look like it could win against some mystery people at Chelsea, and then kind of only added to it by refusing to clarify, is now being talked up as, you know, the successor to Pep Guardiola. So Chelsea and Enzo Maresca are big winners from these reports, and City mainly, but also Pep are the losers. And again, that's not to say that it isn't true, because there are people all the time who tell you Pep's leaving or Pep's staying, and it's a case of working out who you trust and where they will have heard the information and how credible it is. And if it's credible enough to, you know, to write it in this newspaper. I've been told countless times this year that the 115 verdict is imminent, and I've not written it once because I've never had it from a source that I've believed to be credible enough. And I'm not being like, oh, look at me, well done. But like, hopefully the people that have written that it's imminent have now thought, I got that wrong, didn't I?
They've redefined the word imminent.
Yeah. Like, and have reconsidered where they take their information from and everything like that. So, yeah, just a very strange to have this amount of noise, because, yeah, he could leave at the end of the season, but it isn't likely to be sort of all decided by now.
And as you say, if he has made a decision, which is an if, he might not have told anybody yet. He might have a thought process in his head as to, do you know what, if everything goes well this season, maybe I will ride off into the sunset. And as you say, the World Cup opens up international possibilities. But
I mean, statistically, he either has to leave this season, has to see out his contract, or extends his contract. There's three options that he could take. So one has been suggested. The man himself has suggested another two in the press conference today. So I'm not sure we're any clearer on it. And I'm not sure there's anything...
Go on.
Well, I don't know that there's anything new. You know, if there is, there's a lot of people who are very close to the manager who are either extremely good actors or are in the dark about it.
You see Pep 4 times a week pretty much during the season.
Yeah.
You speak to him 4 times a week pretty much during the season. You've done that for however many years. You've got a pretty good rapport relationship with him. Do you kind of feel that he is a little bit reinvigorated by, whether it's by coming through last season and appearing to have come out the other side of it, and a little bit more positivity in terms of points, performance, players, etc., or just perhaps having a younger group that he's able to mould and shape? Because this is a young City side, really, young City squad. There isn't too many 30. There isn't too many grandfathers.
No, and it's kind of gone unnoticed when he has won with different teams. You know, that like great generation from 2017 to 25 weren't really one singular team, but they've kind of been bracketed as that. And so a lot of them left at the end of last season, and the new boys have come in. And I mean, I think he's got a lot more energy and a lot more drive. Every single player you speak to says he's got more drive and he's got loads about him this season. He came back at the Club World Cup. He was absolutely raring to go. Now, as someone in the situation said to me yesterday, like, that might be because he knows he's off, and he knows he only has to give
he's got an infinite
1 year.
Yeah, like the last mile of a marathon.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. You know, everyone at Liverpool was saying how energised Jurgen Klopp was, and then he suddenly said, I'm leaving. And you're like, oh, right, well, maybe he's got energy because he knew he didn't have to keep on giving without an end date in sight. But equally, like, you're talking about a man who nobody has been able to, like, second guess what he's doing. He signed 4 contract extensions at City, and I'm not sure the news has broken like more than a few hours before it's happened. Each time. Like, it's not like somebody writes a story in December and says, oh, he's signing a contract, and then it does it in May or January or whatever. Like, it's been that closely guarded a secret that it's never come out. Now, there might be more in play because City are looking at other candidates and sounding out candidates, but that is an ongoing process that they've done for 10 years. Because again, there have been loads of times in the past when it's felt like Pep will leave and he hasn't, and nobody, zero, I don't think any fans even predicted he would still be here for his 10th year.
No, and I don't think anybody really saw that the last contract extension coming either.
But if we've had 10 years of him at the Etihad, we've had 8 years, or maybe even 10 years of will he quit, will he leave? Because, you know, he has let his contracts run down and he's gone into uncharted territory because he never stayed longer and et cetera, but he has kept breaking the mould. So, you know, maybe he is going, but there's lots of evidence. And kind of more importantly, to reassure the City fans, their manager looks like somebody who is staying to see out his contract at least. And you mentioned the young players, like one of the criticisms is he's not brought through another team. You know, he's not recycled a team like Fergie did, and I'm not sure that's
I'm with you.
Quite right.
There's been 2 or 3 iterations of City, but there might have been a constant or two in all 3 of them.
But this is the biggest rebuild by far, and he does seem quite excited by it.
Yeah, and I mean, some of this must depend on what happens on the pitch as well in the next 6 months. I cannot, well, you probably know better than me, but surely if City finish 4th, get knocked out of the Champions League in the last 16 and don't win a trophy, that doesn't feel like I'll call time on it now. If he can kind of see, and he's spoken a lot about positivity and vibes and how much room there is for growth and all that kind of thing, that you can kind of see he's getting a bit of a buzz out of working with 21, 20, 22-year-old footballers. Surely he's going to want to go out having achieved another title or another Champions League or something, or do you not think that plays as big a part as...
I don't think it's as big. I think, again, we've kind of got black and white in English football. We've got Fergie, who went out on high. We've also got Fergie, who announced he was leaving and then
changed his mind
when the team went to pot. Or we've got Wenger, who stayed on far too long. If you listen to Pep, he says, I've achieved everything there is to achieve. And maybe he does want another Premier League, and maybe he does want a Champions League. But, like, when you see him out on the pitch at Huddersfield having a 5-minute conversation with Nico Gonzalez at the end of the game,
that's not to win
another. That's not to win another Premier League game. It's because this guy is addicted to coaching and addicted to getting better and better and better. And you know, he said today we have things that we can improve, and that is what drives him. Like, of course, he's got an ego. He loves to win. He loves to make history and set records. But I think he would turn around and say, you know, my time at City has been a humongous success. Whatever happens at the end of this season or next season.
I mean, that's without question.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. You're right.
I don't think they're going to drop to the extent that, you know, I don't think he's going to leave at the end of this season or next season with them finishing 8th and like in disarray for the new manager to take over.
Yeah. When it comes to succession planning, if you like, City will have had, I mean, there was always talk of Vincent Kompany, wasn't there, sort of going back maybe 18 months.
Yeah.
It almost felt like he was the man in waiting. Now it's Enzo Maresca. It might be Areola. There's lots of names who come up who are doing well and people see as in the Pep mould.
Yeah.
How difficult... I mean, it's almost impossible, isn't it, to say we would like this manager if Pep leaves in the summer of 2026. If it's 2027, we'd like this manager.
Yeah. It's circumstances and timing, but there is never going to be another Pep. There's never going to be another perfect manager. Just like, you know, if you try and buy a house and then it falls through, it's not like, oh no, this, or it shouldn't be like, this dream house has gone, I'm not buying another house ever again. There will be another just down the road or in the next village that has some things that house doesn't, but other things that it, you know, that are improvements and things like that. And everything will be timing. You try and line everything up as much as you can. And it, you know, Vincent Kompany doing well now, but signing a new contract at Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich is very, well, they lost Pep Guardiola to Manchester City and were not very pleased about it. And, you know, I don't think they would be, again, having taken company who relegated Burnley and was their like 7th choice. I don't think they'd be happy if he then turned around and said, I'm off. But I don't think Burnley were very happy when company said that to Burnley. So, you know, it's a really exciting gig for whoever gets it. And there will be names that are always in the frame. You know, Xabi Alonso was one who was hot last season. But, you know, Real Madrid is the job, and he's got big connections with Liverpool as well. But no one thought that City would get Pep. You know, in 2015, will he go to Liverpool? Will he go to United? Will he go to Chelsea, Arsenal maybe? And then City kind of swooped in and got there. So, you know, Xabi Alonso is someone who you would think would probably rather move to Liverpool than to City. But if the Liverpool job's not available and City is, maybe thinks, well, yeah, this is my time. Mikel Arteta for a long time will have been looked at as a potential manager, but
that'd be something, wouldn't it?
Too big at Arsenal now to come back, you know, very possibly. He's been there 6 years now. I think 6 years this week or this month or this day. So, you know, there will be a number of candidates, and yeah, Iraola is impressing in the Premier League, but then Bournemouth are a bit up and down again. But is that his fault? So there will be a candidate out there, but I can also guarantee that no candidate will be perfect, because they'll be replacing the best manager that there ever has been.
Does it all come down to Pep, this, as to when he does go 100%? It's going to be, there isn't going to be a sort of situation where in next summer, the summer after, they think, oh, actually, Xabi Alonso's been sacked by Real Madrid, so we can go and get Xabi Alonso now. We might not ever get him again.
Yeah.
That isn't going to be the thinking. It's more going to be,
I mean,
Pep will say, you
could have a conversation, but like Pep has earned the right to leave
100%,
when he wants. And pleasingly today, he didn't kind of, for like, it must be 9 years, he's had the pretense of, well, City might sack me. They might sack me, you know, and it's like they're not going to sack you ever.
Yeah, he said that would have happened last season, I think, a couple of times.
Yeah. So he will go when he wants. But, you know, again, 2026 might make sense because there will be openings after the World Cup. But then Pep's on record saying that he wants a break after he leaves City. So does that suggest that he'll stay until 2027 and then take on a team in 2028? Or will there be a manager available from the World Cup in 2026 who Pep and City think, yeah, this is the one. This is because you know, I'm sure Pep will be involved in the succession planning as well, because that is part of his legacy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he would want to be the best, but he will be. What he wouldn't want is for it to all go to pot after he leaves.
Yeah. Just quickly on the football, because I think we are a football podcast.
West Ham.
Ham.
Any knocks?
They seem like they're coming into Wednesday night against Brentford in the Cup seemed like the City of old, in the sense that it just felt a routine home win.
Yeah.
And Sunderland did to a degree, but certainly Leeds wasn't. And there's been occasions this season and last season where routine home win sort of disappeared. But it came back on Wednesday night with a much changed team. It's 6 wins in a row in 3 different competitions.
Yeah.
West Ham at home, you've got to expect they'll win that. They go top of the Premier League for a few hours at least.
Yeah.
It does feel like it's beginning to click a little bit.
Yeah. And it was just, I mean, the perfect response to the Leverkusen defeat, really, because that was too many changes. And it just didn't work. Whereas this, like you say, about 15, 20 minutes, you're kind of thinking who's going to be the one who's going to get the goals. And then Ryan Cherky steps up and does that. So he kind of gave City that momentum, and also scoring a goal, which he's not, you know, he's produced a lot of assists, but not too many goals. So he will be pleased, and Pep will be pleased, having lost Jeremy Doku to injury, that Cherky has stepped up and done that. So they're in a very good place. And then after this, they've got a week before they play.
Before Forest.
So they can have some nice time off before Christmas. And
lucky them.
And return refreshed. But the manager and the team look like they've got lots of energy still.
Speaking of returning refreshed, we shall return refreshed next week after obviously the game against West Ham and before the game against Sunderland after Christmas. We will be one podcast a week for the next couple of weeks just because of Christmas festivities. But rest assured we will be with you next week. So thanks as always for watching. Thanks for listening and we shall see you soon.